Yeah, I got the plates together. I'm using the rubber bands. That way I can spread the plates apart to help me access a third hand. I got the time side great wheel, second wheel on, and you can see it spins just great. It means it has plenty of end shake. Now time to put the escapement wheel on. Get it started in one pivot and then spread the plate apart just a little bit to get it to snap into place. And then make sure all the wheels are still in their correct pivots. Um, and you can see the ratchet wheel is working fine, where before this is the old ratchet wheel. And this is the spring system that they use to make it a ratchet wheel. And somehow the spring is coiled, and then the end here would fit in one of these holes. But, for $5, it's a lot easier just to order another one. So, now you decide on which. I don't want to put the escapement with, the virgin crutch assembly in yet, because even with the I might have to put a bushing in. I'm just noticing the escapement wheel is moving quite a bit. I need to take this thing back apart and do a tilt test, because I think it needs a bushing. You see how far it tilts? Put it in this way. That's not the way it goes. It goes in this way, but it tilts too much. So it needs a bushing. You see how much space is between it? Anyway, it needs a bushing. This way it's fine. It tilts some. It could use a bushing. Because I'm putting a bushing in the other one, I might as well put a bushing in this one. But this one definitely needs a bushing. And these are bushings, KWM bushings, that I just bought off of Time Savers. And L65 through L69 on the top section, L70, 71, 72, 73, and L27. This tells you the size of reamer. This number 2 is the size of reamer that you would use. And here's the number 3, then it goes up to 4, and then 5 for these last two. This shows you the height, shows you the bore, shows you the diameter. The height on all these, it says, is 1.4. Where my height is 2. But as you can see, when you open up this case, you don't know which way to put the lid back down. But I put numbers on here. And when I open up this case, I'm going to put the numbers inside the case also. That way I can know which way to put this lid back on. And I just screwed up because I opened up the lid this way. Which was the wrong way to open up this lid. Because there's all the compartments. Now here's all my bushings. Now I have to figure out where to put these bushings back into here. This is so damn stupid, the way they made this. I thought that I thought this was the way you open it. You live and learn, I guess. How do I figure out what the sizes are? If I had a gauge, it would help, but I don't. So here's a smooth coating broach that goes up to 2 millimeters in diameter. So I'm going to put all those onto here, and if they're more than 2 millimeters in diameter, I'm setting them to a side. If they're less than 2 millimeters in diameter, I'm setting them to a side, because there are 4 of these that are less than 2 millimeters in diameter, and there's 10 bushings per section. So I have 100 bushings total. So I got 40 bushings that I have to deal with that are less than 2 millimeters in diameter. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 60 bushings that are over 2 millimeters in diameter. Fun, fun, fun. Okay, this is a brand new box. There's supposed to be 10, and each one of these would give me 100, okay? I put L65 through L71 in this container. So that means there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in this container. And I have 2 left. But I'm supposed to have 3 left. L72, L73, and L27. So that means I was short 10 bushings. And, granted, I opened this stupid thing wrong, but I'm supposed to have 100 bushings. I only have 90. And I'm taking a bushing and sliding it onto a pair of tweezers that I have marked. And as you could see in this case, these all fit on this mark, and the ones that I have left all fit on this mark. So my point is, I'm short 10 bushings, and their container sucks. It should have been a container like this that you open up like that, versus trying to open it up like I did and get all the bushings mixed up. Out of the 2 that I got left, this one is an outside diameter of 5.9. But this one, outside diameter, is 3.5. I'm supposed to have L73 and L27 that have an outside diameter of 5.9. And I'm supposed to have 10 each. So these are the ones that I got ripped off. The inside diameter is 2.9 on one and 3.0 on the other one. In order to get 3.0, I have to spread the caliper out a little bit. This could be L73. It might be L27. I don't know. Good thing is, honestly, I doubt if I'll ever use that many of these bushings. These would be for the on a cuckoo clock. It would be for maybe the minute arbor, for the 1 day regular 25s, but honestly, I don't know. But all I know is I was short 10 bushings when I ordered this brand new package, and their container sucks. I spent probably 2 hours sorting all these bushings, putting them in this container, trying to figure out where they belong. So it is April the 8th at 11 a.m. About 2 more hours, the eclipse is going to happen. I went to town, little town of Donovan, Missouri, 3,500 people. It's crowded. The streets are blocked off. People are selling t-shirts, eclipse t-shirts. Everything is being crazy. But anyway, this is a KWM reamer set that I bought. And it doesn't come with a holder. I really need to make a block, or take a block wood and drill holes. That way I can know which reamer is which. But it comes with reamers 1 through 5 and a chamfering tool. This is what you use afterwards to make sure that no excess bushing is sticking on the plates. And also, if your bushing is too thick, I personally put the bushings in from the inside of the plates, making them blush. And if they were too thick, I would go on the outside and use this to ream it down. That way it'll give you a bigger oil sink. Because I am using KWM bushings and I bought this set, these bushings are 1.4 millimeters thick. These plates are 2 millimeters thick. I am going to put a 1.4 millimeter bushing in this, and then on the outside, it's just going to have a bigger oil sink. And as you can see, the oil sink for these bushings stick down quite a bit. So I don't think having a bigger oil sink is going to create any issues. But we've already determined that the bore diameter is what I have to determine next. And I forget what it was. I'm just going to measure it again. Remember, we're working with the escapement wheel, so the bore is 1.0 on the pivots. So let me get the box itself so you can read it better. 1.0 is bore diameter. L65 is the bushing. The height is 1.4. The overall diameter is 1.8. Reamer number 2 is what you would use. So I'm going to get reamer number 2 out. And because they're not marked, you just have to determine which one is reamer number 2, which is going to be this one right here. Here's the tool that you use. Now you can ream this going clockwise or anti-clockwise, whatever you want to use. And if the hole is oblonged, you don't want to start reaming the hole. If it's oblonged, I've showed this before. I'm going to get a piece of paper, stand by. Perfect circle. But if your hole is oblong from too much wear, it's worn to the right, it's no longer a perfect circle. And if you start reaming the hole, and instead of you having a true centered hole, your center is going to be off. Instead of it being right here where it needs to be, when you start reaming it, now the center is going to be over here. And you don't want that. So what you have to do, you have to take a small file and file out this metal so it matches 180 degrees opposite of the worn out section. So you would file out this, that way when you put your reamer in, it's going to find dead center again. And so without you filing this section off, when you ream it off, it's going to make your dead center off. So you have to, if the hole is oblong, you have to file 180 degrees opposite of the oblonged area, the worn out area, the cut out area, to that way you, when you go to use your cutting broach, drill, reamer, whatever, it automatically finds dead center again. So make sure that when you check out your holes that they are not egg-shaped. If they are egg-shaped, you have to take a file and file opposite. And if you can't find a file, maybe you can use, they have diamond bit cutting broaches, and I've shown that in other videos. You can sit there and use your diamond bit cutting broach and file it 180 degrees opposite of the worn out area to get that egg-shaped section matching 180 degrees. So what you're going to do is, again, with we already determined it was reamer number 2 from using this chart, because I'm going to use L65 bushing, even though the height, I already told you it's 1.4 inch and my plates are 2.0, but I'm going to use L65. It says I need to use reamer number 2. With cutting broaches, you would have to start with the small broach and then go up. With the reamers, you find the correct reamer and you start. You want to go slow, and you want to keep the reamer parallel with the plate at all times, because if you don't, then your wheel is going to go off-centered. So it's going to take me some time to do this because I have carpal tunnel in both my hands. So I'm going to do it off camera. If you use a drill, it's very possible that using the drill will cause the hole to be bigger, and you don't want that. So anyway, like I said, it's going to take me some time, so I'm going to do this off camera. And what I want to mention is I put my bushings in from the inside. So you want to ream from the inside. The only reason I'm showing you this is to so you can get reference from this posting here to the tool to see that it's equal amount in distance away to help you with that reference. Again, the tool has to be straight up and down with the plates in all directions, or your hole is going to be off. I'm through the hole with my reamer number 2. So now I want to put the champering tool on. That will take care of the burrs. That, believe it or not, you could peel a burr here. So just a couple of spins to take care of the burrs. Now it's nice and flat. Now if you have, and if you can use it, a staking set, which is used for pocket watches, is good for putting the bushings in, because you can, not all bushings, of course, but you can put this down and then use some of these tools to push the bushings in. If you have a drill press, that works also. But in this particular bushing that I'm trying to put in, that is in the way. So I drilled holes in this wood and I'm gonna have to make my hole bigger, because this needs to fit inside that hole. So there we go. So now I get my bushing out and put it in the hole and push it in. Now hopefully you can see this, but the bushing itself has got a oil sink in it, so you want to put the oil sink down toward the exterior or the back plate. Currently it's facing up, so I have to flip it around. And you know, these bushings are so small. Hopefully I can do this on camera. So get it prepared to be knocked in, and then put it in. And you want to feel for it to make sure it's not sticking up any. I think it's sticking up a little bit, so I'm going to take one of these pusher pieces from my staking set, and I'm going to put it on top of it and give it a tap. Now I don't feel anything. And when you put the bushing in, sometimes it's going to close up the hole, and that's why, again, you have to purchase cutting broaches to open up that hole again. So I have to get a cutting broach out and open up that hole, and I'll be back. With the cutting broach, I was able to open up the hole, and then you also want to use a smoothing broach inside that hole. That way it doesn't catch. And you also wanted to polish up the pivots before you did any of this, because if you didn't polish up the pivots, and I forgot to mention that, then depending on what you polished up the pivots with, I use an Arkansas stone myself. It doesn't take away any of the material, but if you use something that will take away the material, then your hole is going to be bigger after you polish the pivots up, because you forgot to polish them up before you started all this. And then afterwards, you want to put the part in between the plates and give it a spin to make sure it spins freely, and make sure it has end shake. End shake again is front plate to rear plate, front plate to rear plate. Give it a spin and make sure it has end shake. Now, I did not put both bushings in because I was wanting to see how it looked before I put the other bushing in. And honestly, I don't believe it needs a bushing on this rear plate. The front plate was really bad, but now it's taken care of. And you can see that the oil sink is a little bit bigger, but it should be just fine. And like I said, I don't believe it needs I'm going to give it some side to side. It doesn't have side to side play. It doesn't have that much side to side play in the rear plate. It's got about the same amount of side to side play in the rear plate as it does in the front plate with the bushing that I just put in it. So I'm happy with it. And I made a quick container to hold my KWM reamers.